talked about my book, Reposition Yourself. You have to reorientate yourself to that environment. And everybody needs two things, mentoring and modeling. Okay. Okay. So to the person who's watching this video, they say, I know there's other rooms. I can't get in the room. I can't get in the room. Nobody invites me to anything like that. I don't know anybody that gets me in there. Serve somebody who's in the room. Drive somebody who's in the room. Pack somebody who's in the room. Clean the house for somebody who's in the room. I don't care how you get in the room, get in the room. Get in the room, catch the crumbs that fall from the table, in the car, on the phone, serving food to them, picking up concepts. Ask questions. Don't get in the room and try to show how smart you are. It's okay not to know. So you get in there and you try to fake like you're one of them, and everybody can readily detect a fraud. Yeah, they know you're a fraud. You use the wrong word. You use the wrong term. You know, it's not a 501k. You know, you blew the whole thing up. You know, you don't file a 1090. It's a 990. You know, a 1099 is different from a 990. You don't have the language.
Right.
So get in the room by serving in the room, volunteering in the room, folding letters in the room, doing whatever you can do, sending boxes of mails in the room, whatever you can do to get in the room. And when you get home, start learning the terms. Get a glossary of the terms and learn the terms so you can speak the language. We are getting ready to move. Moses, I feel like a Moses talking to the children of Israel. We are moving. Pack your bags. The death angel, the plague has come. The death angel has killed the firstborn. All of Egypt is screaming in horror. You must pack to move. Where you're going does not look like where you've been. You've got to cross the desert. We are headed for the promised land. If you had to move quickly, what would you take and what would you leave? Who would you take and who would you leave? These immediate emergency decisions have to be made quickly because the plagues have come and the move is on, and all that do not move will be destroyed.
Wow. 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 Bishop, the tie into what you said earlier, and you just throwing hand grenades as we go along and they're blowing us all up. You were talking about part of what I was getting ready to mention, and that is the homework of it all.
Yes.
And you broke it down, because I think sometimes we think we can just jump into an opportunity and don't embrace the preparation that it takes for the destination, as it were. And just listening to you as I work through the concepts, constructs, and ideas, what you just said a second ago, I mean, Moses talking to the children of Israel, you know, with love, honor, and respect, practically, but also, Bishop, prophetically. The idea of, hey, everybody, it's time to pack up and move, and what that means for the church, what that means vocationally, what that means for your family, what that means for your work life, what that means emotionally, psychologically, how you function from a consistent standpoint previously. I think everybody needs to pack.
Yes. I mean, it comes down to the smallest thing. From a psychological perspective, whenever you're closed in and you're quarantined and you're home and you're worried and you're threatened, there is a propensity to want what we call comfort foods. Comfort foods is the soul's cry for normalcy. So if you grew up eating Cheerios and now you're shut up in the house, all of a sudden you're craving Cheerios. The reason you're craving Cheerios is because they remind you of a better time. The hardest thing has been for me being shut up in the house is to stay away from the Cheerios, because the Cheerios are the things that my soul cries out for, that makes me feel safe, because it reminds me of being at home and my mother and my grandmother and all that kind of stuff. Not only does it make me a very, 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 very large person, but it is also a look in a rear view mirror that I will never have again. Instead, I need to be transforming for the future, figuring out what I'm going to wear, what I'm going to look like, jumping on the treadmill, working out in the gym, been lifting weights, pulling myself together because I'm getting ready for what's in front of me rather than putting all my energy into what's behind me. Been reading ferociously, taking copious notes, reading all of the news headlines that we skip over, looking for the things that we're most interested in. Now, I brought up something a minute ago. I want to close it down. Mentoring and modeling. They're two different things. And mentoring is important. It's very important. And some of your greatest mentors you never have to meet. If you read them, you can be mentored through books. You can be mentored by them. You can be mentored by them. Mentoring is important, but modeling, I believe, is even stronger, because even though you can have a great mentor, if you have a bad model, you won't be successful. Let's take churches, for example. You can have a great mentor and become a phenomenal preacher, but if you have a bad model, the business side of the church is helter-skelter. You can preach the paint off the wall, but you don't know how to fill out the forms to get a PPP. You don't know how to set up the construct. You didn't keep good books. You don't have good records. You don't have the infrastructure, because that wasn't the model when you came along. The model, the church didn't have any employees. The pastor came in and preached on Sunday, and they ate chicken at somebody's house Sunday night, and it was over. Mahalia Jackson fans, Dr. King fans stomping on the floor, having church. That's good. That's your model. Your model may be your misery. You have to find an effective model. When I was teaching my daughter the elementary aspects of preaching, I told her, I said, on your way over to the house, pick up a puzzle. She said, what kind of puzzle? I said, your fifth grade puzzle, any kind of little puzzle. So she brought a little kid's puzzle, brought it home. I said, look at this puzzle. She said, Daddy, I came over here to learn about preaching. Why are you showing me a puzzle? I said, everything you need to know about preaching is in this puzzle. She said, I don't see anything but a puzzle. I said, the principles of the puzzle is the principles of preaching. I said, why do you think they put the picture on the front of the box? She said, to show you what it's supposed to look like when you put it together. That's what a model does. It shows you what it's supposed to look like when you put it together. In the box, you have all the pieces. But if you don't have the model, you'll never be able to put the pieces together, because you don't know what it's supposed to look like. Wow. You understand? So you start with the text. Everybody's got the same book. Everybody's got the same Bible. But how you put those pieces together determines what the picture looks like when the message is done. As that is in preaching, that is also true in life. The model your parents set for you, the model your grandparents set for you, the model your environment, your community sets for you. It's hard to be mentored past your model. You need to see another model. You need to go someplace where you're out of your element and see the model and understand the model and understand what it looks like, because you cannot build what you cannot see.
Yeah.
That's why we have architects, so that carpenters will have a model. The architect literally builds the building on paper, and then the builders come along and build according to the specs. We don't have architects. No architect to get out of debt, no architect for marriage, no architect for community. The reason we haven't been able to defeat COVID-19 is that we had no medical architectural design that required for hospitals to work together. Hospitals became businesses. We see them as hospitals. The people who run them see them as businesses. Right. So they have franchises, just like McDonald's. And all of the franchises have intercommunications within that hospital, but they did not have the ability to communicate with other hospitals. So when the disease started hitting beyond the scope of their franchise, there was no ability to assess what was happening in the city because there was no model for connectivity. That's what happened in Katrina. There was no model for federal government, state government, local government to work together in a concerted effort. Wherever there is no model, people will drown, people will die, people will lose for the lack of a model. We are stuck in some of the situations that we're in, my friend, because we do not have a model. And when we get a chance to go to those that have a model, we don't go because the model doesn't appeal to you because it's not Cheerios.
Wow. Wow.
It's not
so
Cheerios.
mentoring, go ahead, Bishop.
No, I'm just saying it's not Cheerios. You have to develop an appetite for it. There's a discomfort. You have to be willing to walk in the rooms where you feel out of place and where you're careful what you say and where you feel. I'm only happy when I'm in a room where I feel stupid.
Wow.
I love to be in rooms where I have to think carefully before I respond to anything because I don't want to sound like a fool, because those are expansion rooms. Those are rooms where you grow in. Rooms that you come in and you're the smartest person in the room are the rooms you have outgrown. You want to be in a room where you feel like a fool because that puts you in a room where you have space to grow.